Hello, everybody. Welcome to Octane 21. I'm very excited to meet you all here. My name is Frank Dijkstra. I'm a team lead customer success at EMEA, based from Amsterdam. And I'm here today to talk with Herman Schouten. He's the Okta product owner for PON IT. And basically, what we're going to talk about is about the supercharge your growth, building a future ready identity solution. This is a recorded session, but during the session, we will be available to answer any questions in chat. Herman, please take it away.
Thank you, Frank. Before I do my introduction, I want to just show you what you can expect during this session. So after my introduction, I'll showcase a bit what PON stands for, what PON is, and what we do. Next up is we have basically the reason we needed a next step in our identity platform and why we chose Okta. We had different challenges, and I'm going to end with we had some lessons learned, and we also want to showcase a bit of what we're planning to do in the future with PON and Okta. As Frank mentioned, if you have any questions during this session, please let us know, and we'll try to answer them as good as we can. So, who am I? I am the product owner. I am the platform owner, basically for the identity platform. I do this within PON IT. PON IT is a company within PON which delivers different kinds of solutions. For example, collaboration solutions or infrastructure solutions, or basically on-site support and service desk and other related IT services for the PON companies. I do this in a environment which is pretty complex because PON is divided up and is a big company itself. But I'll show you later on how that impacts this. So who's PON? Basically, PON stands for strong brands, and we have dedicated people. So we have a few core values which we really adhere to. So we have a focus on the end results with our passion to perform. We are trusted to do a good job, and we deliver our promises. We trust to act. Basically, we consider all the consequences for our stakeholders and the environment as well. And of course, we make it fun. So we take our fun enjoying pretty seriously. Last year, we had our 125th anniversary, and basically, we are involved with different types of mobility products, services, and solutions globally. So PON worldwide. Basically, PON handles itself in bikes, in cars. We even do excavators, electrical engineering, and even vessel engines. PON is a global player. For example, we have one of the five players in the global industry for bicycles. We also have 2 million people that drive a car, which is imported by us. And we also market leader in the online services and spare parts for heavy and light earth moving machinery. So we do this with about 12,000 employees. It's basically spreading over 80 plus companies in 27 different countries. Um, Basically, we're a global player with a lot of intro keys that come with that. And let me show you in this next one, because as I mentioned, we are a global player with different kinds of business units or business clusters. For example, we have the automotive side, we have the bike side, we have the equipment and power systems, and we have industrial mobility. All these clusters have their own, basically their own way in handling IT and HR related systems, which means we needed to have a central identity which can connect with both HR and also the IT systems that were required from that business unit. So what did we need? We needed a future-ready solution. We had a solution in place, which was working very well up till the point that we basically said, okay, we're moving forward. What's the next step? So we needed basically an identity solution that really could evolve with the way we do our IT. Security was a big one. So security is something we take in high regard and is very important for us. So it needed to be a secure system and able to connect to different systems as well. It needs to be scalable. Basically, we have, as I mentioned, a lot of employees scattered over different companies. It needs to be a fast system. It needs to be flexible. We had a lot of applications which needed to be connected as well. And basically, last one is the independency. So we need the environment to be independent because, as I mentioned before, the IT and HR both are not mandatory, or we don't conform to one specific brand. So we needed something independent to be able to connect with all of those.
Okay, it sounds like a really interesting company to work for and some nice challenges to work with as well. So, could you maybe tell a bit more about why you chose for Okta to help you with these challenges?
Yeah, for sure. So as I mentioned here, so challenges and why Okta. Basically, we needed to move. Well, the whole world is basically moving into a cloud strategy, and of course, we're looking at that as well. So we needed a cloud-focused IAM solution. Another thing is we needed to have one central point. In this case of Okta, would be the universal directory where other HR systems could connect into, and basically we have Okta as our main source for that specific directory. Also, it needs to be a SaaS platform with a guaranteed uptime. So because we're going to connect our business critical applications into this one, and we're going to rely on this platform, we need to have a guaranteed uptime, which is really important for us. Also, for future authentication and authorization and other identity related scenarios, we needed something which supports basically the industry standards. So it was important to have something which was not self-contained, but something that was basically evolving with the environment. And eventually, well, Okta ticked all the right boxes, both from the security, flexibility, and scalability standpoint. But most importantly, it was also a solution which, after a thorough investigation, we came up with what was our best fit. So basically, Pawn and Okta were a good match and a good fit, and yeah, we went with Okta.
Okay, that's great to hear, and I'm happy that the product from Okta was the right fit. Could you maybe tell also a bit more about your collaboration, your experience with the Okta team thus far?
Well, funny you ask, Frank, because Okta's role during the implementation. So we had Okta with us from the start with the professional services team, but also with the sales team, even with architectural backup. And well, basically, we had a feeling that the entire Okta team was there for us, and we're holding hands the entire way. So they gave advice. They even delivered for us the connector, which was one of our main things. We have a central HR system where a lot of companies make use of, and we really needed to have that one connected, which we did with the help of the Okta professional services team and some consultants as well. Some of the things, for example, project management support was a big one where Okta could help, and also the architectural standpoint, as in what did we want to do with Okta or Pawn, and they really helped out there as well. And of course, the technical troubleshooting and the solution design behind it as well. So basically, we started out with a really strong foundation, really solid foundation that kicked off the rest of the journey we're currently having with Okta.
Sounds good. So, on this journey with Okta, could you maybe elaborate a bit? Tell a bit more about details.
Yeah, for sure. So we had a timeline prepared for this one where basically we had the 2017 start, where we started basically out with Okta as our solution after as I mentioned, a thorough investigation why, in this case, Okta was the best fit. So eventually, 2 quarters later, we went live, which was a very successful implementation. We had little to no real big issues starting out. So props to the team at Pawn, but also props to Okta. At Q4 2018, I was basically I started as the product owner, and I was handed over from the project into the production environment. The team got certified with Okta as well, and eventually in the second quarter of 2019, we enabled our first consumer identity and access management tenant. And it was a big success as well. It was our bike side of things, and we had a really good onboarding experience with Okta and with the development team as well. So eventually, in Q1 of 2020, we went live, which was also a big success. And basically, it was a good move in the right direction with Okta as well. And we had a good feel on, basically reaffirmed why Okta was a good choice for us. So the second quarter of 2020, we added the customer success manager, in this case, Frank. Frank's been with us from the start and was a really good addition, because from that time on, and also a bit before that one as well, Frank basically felt like one of the team for any related issues concerning our roadmap, or any issues with our C-level executives, or anything related to the vision for Pawn Okta and how to make this success. We could involve Frank as well. So that was a big one for us. So in the second quarter of 2020, as everyone knows, COVID became a thing that made a lot of people work from home. Okta proved itself to be a reliable platform during that time. We had no outages, we had no weird things going on. Basically, it was really good to get a reaffirmation, as in, okay, Okta is a good choice and a good way to move forward for Pawn as well. Well, and lastly, the big change was that we added Okta workflows. We've also enabled some flows currently, and we're planning to build out on that one. But workflows really enables us to do more with Okta and do more with the lifecycle management of our users, but also our applications as well. So where do we stand today? So Pond today has we've made a lot of progress. For example, we've centralized our security policies using one hub environment. As I mentioned, we implemented our workforce and SIAM, including a unified dashboard for all Pond employees, which was important to get the same look and feel. Basically, when people see the Okta sign-in page, they know and feel secure to move forward. For example, also the guaranteed availability was a big one. Currently, we have over 400 applications connected, which is also strong. We've created our own user management tool within our ITSM platform, which really helps us to not give total control in certain situations, but you can really pinpoint using basically web calls, web API calls, or REST API calls to do certain things in a controlled manner. So it's really nice that Okta plays nice with our ITSM platform as well. One of the things which is also really important for us is our strong MFA support. So we really wanted to have a strong way of authenticating a extra layer of security, and we had that with, well, in this case, our SMS features. We had some Google Authenticator as well, but we wanted something more, and we wanted something more flexible, and we had that with Okta. So the Okta Verify app really helps us to streamline and to help make it easier and more secure for our end users as well. And lastly, also we have a good partnership with our Okta partner FuseLogic. Congrats to them because they've been also nominated. They won the best partner Benelux last year, and I'm just looking at a good future ahead as well with them as partners and helping us out. So our solution overview. This is just a snippet. This is not the entire overview, but just want to give you some input on where we are and what we're doing. So as I mentioned, we have multiple HR systems, different brands, different locations as well. So for example, we have one in the US, we have one in Europe, basically multiple in Europe as well. I mean, we even have one in Asia. We're looking to connect more, and Okta makes this pretty easy, which is good. So we're building out in a streamlined, uniformal HR as a master situation where our master data is always HR driven, which is something we want as well. We also show the directory here. There's one directory shown here, but we basically have a lot of multiple directories connected with Okta for multiple purposes. And even with all those different ADs connected, everything goes smoothly. Everything is almost instantly. And we have basically no issues at all concerning that. Well, from our ITSM platform, we also have the capabilities to do basically the service request side of things, so requesting a new computer, but also applications or VPN or different types of audio conferencing. You name it, it's basically there, which also connect in certain solutions with Okta. So anything you do there also has could have an impact on the Okta platform as well. I'm not going to call any out of any big platforms we have, but let's just say we have multiple infrastructure platforms, collaboration platforms, security platforms, and a lot of cloud apps as well. We use the user provisioning side of things. We also use a lot of single sign-on to make things happen. And Okta has really, basically proven itself as a good central hub where we can basically go through one portal and get to our Pond data and Pond applications, which is really good.
That's really a fantastic story. During this time, you must have had your successes and challenges. Could you maybe tell a bit more about what your main key learnings were?
Yeah, so we do have a few lessons learned prepared here. One of them, and probably one of the main ones, is engaging with the appropriate Okta resources. So I'm really fortunate to have a really good team on the Okta side, which guided me basically through the life cycle of Okta. For example, the sales part, we have Anka Masato. She really helped out and never always felt like she never felt like something that I needed to move through. It's always a partnership, which you decide on what's the best way to move forward. So that's a really good quality on her. Same with Frank, of course, which I already mentioned here. So Frank Dijkstra, he always guides us and always helps us out with our vision, with our roadmap, but also with our challenges we faced at that time. The same goes with Rachel van Wijk. Rachel, solution engineer within Okta, also helped with the different challenges, especially last year. Even with the maturity of the identity perspective, she really gave a new focus and helped out a lot. Same goes with our Okta partners. So Fuse Logic, big props to them as well. They initially started as a consultancy. Then we moved forward because, well, the interaction was that good that the partnership was formed. Eventually, they were also on board for our support, and we rely on them for a lot of implementations, but also a lot of consultancy. So they're good to have on board as well. And last one is, of course, our internal team, our Okta team. It went from a big team to a small team. That happens, but we're expanding again. Definitely with the Fuse Logic addition, we're looking forward, including with the hub spoke model. We need a good basis. So yeah, the big props to them for helping us out and moving things along, both during the initial implementation, but also during the life cycle. So big thanks to Fred, and of course to Liesel and the rest of the team as well. So it's important to have basically all the Okta guys moving the same way, and that definitely happened in the last few years with Okta. So yeah. The second one is the maintaining alignment based on broader business objectives. As you all know, business objectives change. So if you don't align with those business objectives, you're gonna steer off course. So you need to be able to basically challenge them, say what you're doing, but also the other way around, have them inform you what their current struggles are, what they're moving forward to, and see if you can align with that business. So that really helps out basically the whole life cycle for both those business challenges, but also the identity maturity and moving forward with identity. So that really was a big one. Open minds on the business side to also let them know what identity can achieve. So yeah, bring them along. It's important. At the same time, we have the account executives, sorry, not the account, but the execs we have. For example, your CIO, your CISO, anything related to executives and management as well. Keep them always informed, keep them involved. It's key to keep them there because of, for example, resourcing and budget. If you, for example, have a specific challenge, you need them on board. They can help remove certain obstacles to keep the focus from both a corporate vision, but also just basically them being a partner and helping you along. So yeah, it's a big one to have those different types of programs to meet the vision from a corporate standpoint as well. So yeah, keep them involved from the start and basically always inform them of any changes or any difficulties you have, so they can also help you out. So yeah, that's a good one to keep in mind. And the last one is the master data integrity, especially the user data. You can always start out with an as is. So for example, if you have a specific scenario now, you know it's not up to speed, but you're going to move as is. It can bring some challenges later on. So for example, if you need to clean up for specific things, maybe users, it could be entities, it could be connections. If you map them out at the start and basically have a good kickoff point, it will prevent any cleanup later on, because basically if the effort needed to clean those things up sometimes need a restructuring of certain things, and that basically takes a lot of resources and a lot of money as well. And of course, because we highly value that specific universal directory within PON as well, the single source of truth is always important. So make sure that you know where the information is coming from, you know how it's being stored in this central solution as well. And that way you always have the best data coming into other applications or other systems or other platforms to basically have a good, solid foundation within your identity platform. Make use of that. So yeah, the central source of truth and how Okta jumps into that one is a really big part on why it's so successful within PON. So yeah, that's the last lesson learned for now.
Well, we all know the journey never ends. So what's next for PON?
So what's next? Just some highlights. We have more on the way, but this is something that we are focusing on. We have a middleware platform as well, and we're looking forward to securing more APIs through that middleware and also with Okta. We're going to expand on the SIAM implementation as well, not just for the initial bike customers, but also for the other clusters as well and our partners, which is a big one. We do this including with the earlier mentioned middleware platform. So focus on fully automating the onboarding and offboarding process. So a lot of things we already have automated, but there are some things that can be improved. Okta Workflows is a good one to help out with that. And also, we're trying to connect even more HR systems to make sure that the entire Pond family is basically getting its user data from a source which is maintained by that company, which is a good one. Hub-spoke implementation is also something we're going to expand on. Currently, we do have a specific hub-spoke scenario, but we're going to build upon that one also with our different companies and different clusters. This is something we're really looking forward to and really investigating on how to do this properly. It's a big change in our identity landscape, but with the help of Okta and our support partner, we're really looking forward to moving this in the next step. So as I mentioned, the Okta workflow is not just for the lifecycle management part of things, but it's also for the little things. So informing your customer or updating certain things, or the interactivity with your applications. If you want specific things to be done, which is possible with, for example, the platform itself, but you can also help, let Okta help do a specific thing. So that's something we have a lot of use cases prepared, and the Okta workflow is a big one moving forward. And the last one, and which is also definitely a tip to anyone who's currently using Okta, which is not moved over just yet. Okta Identity Engine is coming. It's really strong and a powerful upgrade for Okta as well. And we need to make preparation steps to move into that, basically to make that a smooth transition. And again, Okta and the support partner are really helping out on this one to make that basically as seamless as it can be. So yeah, a lot of things prepared, a lot of things coming up. Yeah, I'm really proud where we're at, but I'm also really looking ahead. And yeah, Okta is a fun, how do you call it, a fun way to move forward with identity because it's an always changing environment. So yeah, that's currently where we're at. And what's next?
Thank you very much. So, I would like to thank you very much for sharing your story. It's a really interesting one, I think. I really enjoyed working together with you, also with the broader account team, consisting of Anke Massaro as an account executive and our sales engineer, Rachel Verwijk. Yeah, we can do great things together going forward. For the audience, I would like to mention if you have any other further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to either Herman or myself. And with that, do you have any last words, Herman?
Just to confirm, it's a team effort, so it's not always one thing. We highlight in this case the customer success manager for because it's also added lately. But yeah, it's a team effort, and everyone in the Okta team appreciate them a lot. It's really fun working with them as well, and they always have your back, or at least my back. So yeah, that's something that I want to end as well. Thank you for your interest and your attention. If you want to reach out, you can do so through LinkedIn. The link's on the page. Fun note on the picture on the right. It's made directly after I went to Octane 2 years ago. So I thought it would be funny to add it here. So thanks again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the